one new thing today. Okay, solving is done, quadratic problems, so they'll continue. But today we are going to solve that, what kind of roots. What kind of roots? Roots means what kind of roots means the values of x. The values
Hmm.
of x. What kind of roots does a quadratic equation has? Okay?
Hmm.
What kind of roots does a quadratic equation has? Basically, what is happening, you see. Sometimes, we start solving the question, but sometimes it is possible that, the equation is not solvable. And we are, wasting our time to try and solve the equation. But that equation is such a quadratic equation which cannot be solved. So,
Hmm.
it's always good to check whether I can solve that equation or not, isn't it? So rather than,
Yeah.
waste your time to solve it, first check whether the equation can be solved or not. So how do we actually check? We calculate the discriminant. We
Hmm.
calculate the discriminant. What is discriminant? Discriminant means somebody who can discriminate. Discriminate into what? Discriminate amongst what? Discriminate amongst discriminate amongst the real roots or the no roots, or you can say the unreal roots. That whether the equation will have real roots or whether the equation does not have real roots. Do you understand? So that's the
Hmm.
basic concept. Okay. So when we say that, we have going to calculate the discriminant, what is the formula of discriminant? That is b square minus 4ac. And this discriminant decides whether the equation is solvable or not. Do you understand? This equation
Hmm.
decides whether the equation is solvable or not. So for example, if we have the discriminant greater than 0 or discriminant equal to 0, then we say the equation is solvable. The equation is solvable.
Hmm.
Okay. And if d discriminant comes out to be less than 0, then we say that the equation is not solvable. The equation is not solvable. Do you understand my point?
Hmm. Yeah.
This is the condition. So when we are talking about the discriminant is less than 0, so we say equation is not solvable. Do you understand? I
Yeah.
hope you're understanding. Right?
Hmm.
And if the discriminant is, what is discriminant? The formula of discriminant is b square minus 4ac. Do you realize this is the same term which come in this formula, minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. So
Hmm.
so this root value, the b square minus 4ac, that you call it as discriminant. Are you understanding my point?
Hmm.
So when this is b square minus 4ac, you understand. Can if this b square minus 4ac comes out to be some negative number, like minus 9, would you be able to calculate root of minus 9? The root of the negative numbers actually do not exist, isn't it? Right? So
Yes.
when the roots of the negative numbers do not exist at all, what do you think it exactly means?
Hmm.
Hmm? It
Hmm.
basically means that minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac. So root of negative number does not exist, and thereby you cannot solve this quadratic equation. That's what discriminant less than 0 means. That the value of under root d would be under root some negative value, and under root of negative value is not solvable.
Hmm.
I hope you're understanding.
Hmm.
Any doubts on this?
Yeah.
All right,
Hmm.
that is the concept. So here, let's suppose if I give you this equation, x square minus 2x plus 1 equals to 0, and I want to check whether this quadratic equation is solvable or not, and what kind of roots it is going to have, what kind of values of x it is going to have. So the very basic method is you compare the equation with ax square plus bx plus c. Find out the values of A. So A here is 1, B here is -2, and C here is 1. And simply calculate the discriminant. If the discriminant is B square minus 4AC, so -2 square minus 4AC. So -2 square shall become 4, minus 4. 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 1, 4. And the discriminant comes out to be 0. So this means that the equation is solvable, definitely. But what kind of values of x will I get? I will get real values and equal values. Real values and equal values. Do you understand my point? What does that mean? That if you solve this equation, both the values of x, after doing minus b plus minus
Hmm.
over 2a, when you do plus minus, you get the same answer. Why? Understand why so? Because this discriminant comes out to be 0, isn't it? So this is going to become minus b plus minus under root of 0 over 2a. So root 0 doesn't really matter. So both the values of alpha beta shall be equals to minus b over 2a, isn't it?
Hmm.
Right? So when the discriminant, the b square minus 4ac is called discriminant, and when this discriminant is equals to 0, the value, the roots are real and equal. Do you understand? The roots are real and equal. Are you understanding my point?
Hmm.
All right, that is the concept.
Yeah.
Understood or not? All right, all right.
Hmm.
Next question. Let's suppose if I give you this x square plus 4x plus 1, right?
Hmm.
This is the equation. Let's suppose this. And I want to check whether this equation is solvable or not. Whether this equation is solvable or not. And if it is solvable, then what kind of roots does it have? Okay. So 2x square plus 4x plus 167 equals to 0 is my given quadratic equation. And I have to see whether this quadratic equation is solvable or not. So what am I going to do? I'm going to compare it with ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So a becomes equals to 2, b becomes equals to 4, and c becomes equals to 167. Yes or no?
Hmm.
So this is going to become what? Minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. This is going to be alpha comma beta. So it is going to become minus 4. So sorry. So I'm not going to calculate the roots. I'm going to simply do the quadratic equation, the discriminant. That is b square minus 4ac. Simply say that. This should be greater than or equal to 0 for the roots to exist.
Hmm.
So b square is 4 square minus 4ac. So this is 16 minus 8 times 167. So definitely 8 times 167 will be greater than 16. So this
Hmm.
discriminant, whatever it is going to be, it is going to be some negative value, isn't it? Are you understanding?
Hmm.
And if it is going to be some negative value, what do you think it is going to be? 16, 167 times 8, you said? 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 6 is 48. 48 plus 5, 63 or 53. 8 times 1 and 13. So 1336. So 16 minus 1336 is going to be my discriminant. Yes or no?
Hmm.
So here what is going to happen? That 1336 minus 16 if I do, I get 1320. So I'm going to get discriminant as equals to minus 1320. And this discriminant, since it is coming out to be negative, I hope you're understanding that this negative discriminant, alright,
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
negative discriminant is going to do what? Is going to do what? This negative discriminant is going to tell me that this equation is not solvable. Okay? So you will say
Yeah.
no real roots. Simply say no real roots. Why? Because the discriminant, which is b square minus 4ac, is greater than or equals to 0. Understood or not?
Yeah.
Alright? Now let's
Yeah.
next do the question. Let's suppose if I give you this equation. If I say 3x square minus x plus 1 minus 2x plus 1 is equals to 0. And I want to check what kind of roots does this equation have. Will this equation be solvable or not? So how do you do this? You say you compare it with ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, isn't it? So a here is going to be 3, b here is going to be minus 2, and c here is going to be equals to 1. Are you understanding?
Hmm.
And then what do you have? Tell me. The discriminant, you check it, b square minus 4 ac. So what do? You say b square minus 2 square minus 4 a. A is 3 and c is, let's say this equation is this minus 1. So c here shall be what? Minus 1. So
Hmm.
b square minus 4ac is going to be the discriminant. So that is going to be 4 minus and minus. So minus times minus becomes plus. 4 times 3, 12. So discriminant here is going to be 16. Yes or no?
Hmm.
So when discriminant here is going to be 16, this is positive, greater than 0. And when
Yeah.
discriminant is positive, I will say roots exist. And what kind of roots? Real and different roots. That means the two values of x would be different values. So different word means distinct values. So real and distinct roots shall exist. Are you understanding my point? So how
Yeah.
what do we conclude? That discriminant, if it is 0, I will say the equation is solvable and the roots will be real roots and equal roots. The both values of x shall be same. If discriminant is equal to 0, is greater than 0, that means it is some positive value. You will say the equation is solvable, but you will say the roots shall be real and distinct. And if you say that discriminant is less than 0, that means discriminant is some negative value. So you will say the equation is solvable. The equation is not solvable and it shall be unreal roots.
Hmm.
Alright, it should be unreal roots. Do you understand my point? So
Hmm.
this is the concept. Understood or not? Okay, that is the concept.
Hmm.
Tell me.
Hmm.
Alright, now let us suppose we have this question. It says, find the value of k, find the value of k for which the quadratic equation, for which the quadratic equation has real and equal roots. So what do we have in here? We have kx square plus 2x minus 6 equals to 0 is the equation given to me. So this equation wants me to find out such a value of k for which I would have real and equal roots. Real and equal roots means the discriminant should be 0. So what is the formula of discriminant? B square minus 4ac. So if I compare it, I'll get ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So 2 square minus 4 ac equals to 0. So 2 square shall be 4 and 4 times 6 is 24 equals to 0. Because I want to have the discriminant 0, because discriminant 0 means what? Discriminant 0
Hmm.
means what? Real and equal roots. So what I've done is I have compared it, the value a value is k, b value is 2 and c value is minus 6. And I'm going to put this here, b square minus 4ac. So 2 square is 4, minus minus is plus 24k. So here, 24k here is going to be minus 4. So k here is going to be minus 4 over 24. So 2 times 2, 2 times 12, 2 times 1, 2 times 6. So basically k is going to be minus 1 over 6 for the roots to be real and equal. Yes or no? And for this value of k, the discriminant shall be 0. Do you understand my point?
Hmm.
All right. Now let's have this part. Just read the first question. It says, find the value of k in each of the following quadratic equations for which the given value of x is the root of the quadratic equation. Okay. And let's suppose I want you to find out the value of k here. Let's suppose I change a bit. It says 3x square minus kx minus 2 equals to 0. It means what? It means what? That I have to find out the value of k. If I say, not this question, okay? Forget about this question. I'm not solving this question. I've just taken the equation from this sheet. And let's suppose I say that, find the value of k for which the roots are real.
Hmm.
The roots are real and equal. So if the roots are real and equal, what exactly does that mean? Can you tell me? So it is going to be, if you compare it with ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So a here is going to be 3, b here is going to be minus k, and c here is going to be minus 2. So you put in the values, you said discriminant should be 0 for the roots to be real and equal. So discriminant is going to be what? By b square minus 4ac should be 0. So minus k whole square minus 4ac should be 0. So k square plus 12 and 24 is going to be 0. So it says k square is minus 24. Do you realize that can k square be minus 24 ever? A square value can never be negative, isn't it? Even if you do minus 5 times minus 5, don't you think you're going to get plus 25? And if you do 5 times 5, don't you think still you're going to get plus 25? So a square value is never negative. Are you understanding?
Yeah.
So k square, basically, you will say that, there is no value of k for this equation for which the equation shall have equal and real roots. Do you understand my point?
Hmm.
So you will say no value of k shall have real and equal roots, because k square is coming out to be negative 24, and thereby square can never be negative. Square can never be negative. Understood or not? All right.
Yeah.
Any doubts up till now?
No.
So this is one question. So this is how we tell us that, whether the quadratic equation shall have any roots or whether the equation will not have any roots. If the equation will have some roots, what kind of roots will they be? Will they be equal roots or will they be distinct roots? Okay. So for the condition, I hope I'm repeating it again. It means discriminant is greater than or equals to 0. That means equation is solvable and roots are real. And if the discriminant is less than 0, the equation is not solvable at all. That means you will say no real roots. Understood or not? Okay.